Okay, this is another episode of something for ordinary people. What do I call this thing? Open letter to ordinary people. There we go. And Danny Sherber, my fraternity brother from Sigma Phi Epsilon, when we graduated in the 80s from Henderson State University, when we attended, excuse me, Henderson State University in the 80s. How you been, man? How was your brother's birthday?
It's good. We just threw down, and I've got my oldest son is getting married in 2 weeks, so we're getting prepared for that. And it's been a busy summer. It's been a very busy summer, and I'm not used to so much stuff going on. And I met
Well,
with
that's
a bunch.
very cool.
I actually met
Hmm.
with a bunch of the old fraternity brothers too. Quite a handful of them, not long ago, a couple weeks ago.
Cool. I want you
Um,
to keep talking about that. I'm going to step away and take a little hit of weed, but I'm not going to do it on camera out of respect to sensitive souls. So go ahead, brother. Keep talking.
Yeah, it was nice. We met over at Keith Cruz's house here in Arkadelphia, and just had a few beers and shared a few memories, ate a few burgers, and it's good. A lot of those people I hadn't seen in 40 years, so kind of cool. I took uh, I took Paul Hankins over there, and
That's
and
cool.
I've been having coffee with Paul every Saturday morning, and it's great. I highly recommend everybody share a little time with an 80-year-old, you know,
Yeah,
every now and
absolutely.
then. It's really
Yeah,
good. It sure helps your perspective on everything.
yeah. Well, I was so fortunate that I was raised by my grandparents, or they took me in when I uh, decided after the ninth grade in Phoenix, Arizona, I was hanging out with some bad kids and I was mooching weed. So I was this awkward third wheel, imagine that no one wanted to hang out with. And, you know, uh, so I didn't want to live my life like that. And my old man had lived a hard life, and he was a heroin addict who, the last 12 years of his life, he was on methadone, but he was also a substance abuse counselor who had had a little college. And he knew that the public school system in rural Arkansas was much less like a penitentiary than, downtown Phoenix, Arizona, where, I had a knife pulled on me a time or two and, you know,
Right.
Nazis. I remember once we were outside in front of, they called it West High School. I think it was just the year before they closed down. And so this Nazi's at the stoplight and throws up all these flyers, and they were trying to recruit little young Nazis from high school to become, biker Nazis, and I don't know what the gang was, but some offshoot, I guess, like the Hell's Angels type thing, and I couldn't take it anymore, man, because I well, number one, I was mad at my dad because he was a well-spoken, charming dude, and could have probably gotten about any job he really wanted to had he really applied himself and started at an earlier age. But you talking about the 80-year-olds, um, my grandmother was my biggest advocate, and she lived to be 94. And, she supported me all through college and through becoming a police officer and my first marriage and having of my son, who is now my daughter, which is interesting and cool, and I'm so thankful that she includes me in her life. But that thing, man, if it weren't for the patience and the kindness of my grandparents, right around in their 70s, into their 80s, and my grandmother lived to be 94, like I said, I couldn't enjoy the quality of life I have now in Europe.
Right.
I
I was
wouldn't have a bachelor's degree and a master's degree, and a really cool wife who got her degree in philosophy. So I'm very fortunate.
Yeah, I was super cool with my grandmother growing up too. So that was a really special relationship I had with her. And her dad even lived to be 99, and I used to hang with him as a kid. Always always appreciate the old folks.
Yeah. Well, I would say I didn't wasn't cool enough and didn't appreciate Paul enough when we were in school. But has he written a book?
I don't think so. Um,
Yeah.
I don't know. I can ask him though. Seems
You
like
maybe ask him because I think he knows a lot about the power of kindness if he needs a theme.
he
Tell him he's free. He can contact me if he wants to.
he could definitely write a book.
Yeah, if he wants to contact me, tell him that that's cool. And you can tell him all the weird, stuff about me. It's cool. That's fine. But if he's got the presence of mind to have a cup of coffee with you, he might be able to punch out, you know, maybe a couple thousand words a week and do something for posterity.
Sure, sure.
You know,
Yeah, definitely be next on our conversation list.
cool. So, man, I asked you here for a very selfish reason
Yeah,
to
yeah,
celebrate. That's
yeah.
why I'm smoking a little weed here off camera. I am celebrating um, finishing what I'm going to call the first draft because it's more than a rough draft now. Of She Went There to Witness, and it is less than 63,000 words, 220 pages, which I wanted. I wanted it to feel like a short, sharp shock to one's consciousness. And I clarified today to make the beginning circle back to the ending with the sound of a car horn. A car horn drones is how I end the first page.
Saw that.
And that's how I end the novel. And everything that Jane Doe experiences is like when her consciousness traveled to a place where time does not exist, or it doesn't, exist the way we understand it, on Earth, because on Earth, gravity warps time on Earth.
No, I really like that line, the car horn drone. That
Yeah. Thanks,
because
man.
anybody who saw the video knows exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Yeah.
pretty powerful.
And it it shook me, man. I mean, I was shook in 2017 because my wife was so much smarter than me, and she's Italian, and her grandfather fought for the fascists. And when he got home to Sardinia, he never wanted to leave the island again, and he didn't. And he I think became a bus driver and lived until he was in his 80s. Never left Sardinia again. And Sardinia, it's not quite as big as Sicily. I mean, it's if you live on an island, I think you tend to get rock fever. You want to
So,
go.
for
No
sure.
matter how beautiful it is. It's right there, smack dab in the Mediterranean, and it is gorgeous. And the people are beautiful, and the food's great. But still, you're on an island. You
Right.
know.
Big rocks.
So yeah, but yeah. So we in 2017, Heather Hires, young lady who went to peacefully protest in Charlottesville.
Right. Yeah, that was
The
horrific.
last thing she posted online was, "If you're not outraged, you're not paying attention." And that rational young woman is dead because a Nazi murdered her.
Hmm.
And the president of the United States says there were fine people on both sides.
Yep.
And I'm slow to anger. I was a cop for 18 years. I was so fortunate. The only police shooting I was involved in was textbook. There were 5 cops, only one cop fired, and he shot twice, and that was all that was needed. So if they ever wanted to the police academy wanted to study a police shooting done the right way, we did it the right way. We used
Luckily,
deadly force to the letter of the law.
luckily you're
Um,
involved in
yeah.
making.
So anyway, I saw black, and I don't get enraged like that because my father would, and I don't respect that kind of impulsive action.
Right.
To me, it's a lack of discipline. But I had no discipline because it was beyond my conscious mind. This went right into my unconscious mind, and it tapped into my rage at this man, at this fucking wannabe Nazi.
As
You
anyone,
know,
it should have been that
yeah,
way for everybody.
yeah, and we seriously started having conversations about moving to Europe. She was murdered by that Nazi in mid-August of 2017. We left for Europe and haven't been back to the USA on June 6th, 2018.
Right.
So less than a year later, we left the United States. And my quality of life is so much better. It cost half as much to live here as it did in Los Angeles. And just, from a dignity standpoint, to not be confronted with much flaky bullshit in
Sure.
LA and LA culture, I would never want to raise my kids in Los Angeles. I love Los Angeles. Los Angeles doesn't love me, and I'll always love it and I'll always miss it and I'll always be a fan of the Dodgers. I mean, you know,
Sure.
I'm a wannabe man,
Okay.
and I love living there. I love working for Warner Brothers. I love meeting A-listers who were just so cool. I had some cool experiences, man. I sometimes I would work, we would do gigs that were a little more upscale. And I worked a one-person private screening for an extremely pregnant and sweet Gail Godot.
Oh,
And
cool.
she had them stop the screening. She just called up to the projection booth, said, "Hey, can you pause it for a minute? I need to go to the bathroom." And man, it was just so intimate and so cool because there's Gail fucking Godot,
Right.
and here I am, this chucklehead, responsible that some asshole doesn't come through the door and try to pitch a script and then fight the urge for me to pitch a script. Uh, that was cool. It was cool having Al Pacino make eye contact with me and ask me, "How you doing?" And so starstruck with that. And I overheard a conversation as he left that he was having with a couple of women, and he said, uh, "She's a great writer." And I'm assuming he was referring to Greta Gerwig, who went on to write Barbie and direct it, because the screening was for him and other people for a movie called The Humbling. And it starred Al Pacino and it co-starred Greta Gerwig. And I don't know if she wrote the script for The Humbling or not, or co-wrote it. She probably did. She's a great writer. Her husband's a great writer, Noah Baumbach. And, uh, but
Good
sorry,
times.
man, I'm just rambling because I'm happy and I'm glad I got this second novel behind me. And
Yeah, no doubt. That's an
I'm
accomplishment.
thanks, man, and I'm being as patient as I can, waiting for feedback. And I have got some really good feedback. I've gotten three really solid notes, and I was hoping for just one, and I have three. So I think I have this polished enough that I'm seriously considering come Monday, that'll be launch time. I'll just start with that first agent, the lady who is at the top of my list, and uh, go on from there.
Absolutely. And
Yeah.
best of luck too, for sure.
Oh, thanks, man. Thanks. I'm optimistic. My goal is to just not have to self-publish, and make like €1,000 a month, which
Right.
isn't much, but we get €1,000 a month. I'll get a little electric Renault 5, which will be cool.
Right.
And we could plan little getaway weekends and stuff,
Sure.
like maybe drive to Berlin, you know,
Oh
for
yeah.
have a cool weekend there. So
Absolutely.
anyway, life is good, man.
Yeah, it sounds like it, and it's good to have a man in Rotterdam. You know.
Hey, man, I tell everyone, uh, you know, come see us in Rotterdam. And it's weird. I know I scared the hell out of Barry Kreitz when he was here because I can't even remember that was before or after I had my psychotic break. But I was just like out of my head when he was here.
Right.
So if
That
you
was
get a
fun, I'm
chance,
sure.
Barry, in you mentioned me, Barry will probably say that he's very concerned.
Oh yeah.
But he said something when I told him about my situation here. He said, "You're a kept man," and I'm like, "Yeah." And my wife, the sole income right now is the main reason that I want to start earning at least €1,000 a month to help out. And I also think the main thing for me, just for to kind of ping all the way down into my unconscious mind with a level of satisfaction would be to make enough money to renounce my American citizenship and become a Dutch citizen, a
Ah,
full-blown Dutch citizen. Because if the writing career does take off at any level, and it might, because I've got 30 years worth of screenplays,
right.
and if I sell well enough and I have a legit agent, and if a book, I think this book right now could be a good limited one season series with 12 episodes
Mm,
because it has 12 chapters and each one is like this apostle for her own last supper,
hmm
and each one of them is modeled after a living guru,
hmm
you know,
Right.
except for the last one. The last one is her dead ex-husband who confesses that he did commit suicide because she wasn't allowed to know the nature of his death because he worked he was an Air Force drone pilot, and so all his stuff was top secret.
Right.
You can't talk about you're being a piloting a drone from somewhere in Nevada via satellite to some target over Afghanistan or whatever.
Right.
So, uh, but she knows that he confesses to her like she imagined that he committed suicide.
So you didn't write it thinking about it being on TV, right? It just kind of
No,
came
I
together.
try to, when I write, I try to follow my unconscious mind as much as possible. I try to have a long, silly title because that focuses my theme. And I don't keep the long, silly title once I've gotten past the rough draft stage. I'll shorten it to whatever came before the colon, to extend it.
Sure.
And yeah, man, I like the process. For me, I just try to write 1,000 words a day, and I give myself 2 hours to do that.
Well, it's obviously therapeutic too,
Oh
right?
yeah, of course. Yeah, I don't know how anybody who's ever had a psychotic break uh doesn't have some type of artistic outlet to occupy their unconscious mind.
Plus the routine, I'm sure helps keeping a
Yeah,
focus.
absolutely. Yeah, it's a ritual for me, and my body's trained for it. And an important part for me is, and I brought this up to you. I couldn't help but wonder that the good weed I just smoked right now that has this incredible couch lock, the ice cream cookies. It's indica dominant. It's like 75% uh, over 25% for sativa. It's about 25 times stronger than the shit I smoked when I was mooching weed in the ninth grade in Phoenix, fucking Arizona. When it was just, it sure wasn't sinsemilla. It was mostly, seeds and stems, you
Right.
know, awful shit. Now I just did like 4 or 5 hits, and there's a sense of euphoria. There's a chattiness, obviously, and that chattiness translates onto the page.
Right.
I don't have this sense of dread and this sense of self-criticism from my superego that is trying to tell me, oh, you have imposter syndrome, because if you don't have imposter syndrome and you really think that you're going to get an agent in London and start making some serious money, something's wrong with you for thinking that, right? Man, this weed, it's like, who gives a fuck if I'm being delusional or not? You know, I feel good.
That is
I'm telling people that I love them through my work. I'm telling people that I believe in humanity, that I'm a humanist, that I think the coolest thing in the known universe is a human being. And that's my faith. Technically, you could say I'm agnostic. I'm agnostic because I believe everyone is equal. I believe you are entitled to be a Christian or a Muslim or, follow the Jewish faith, whatever you want, you know, uh, as long as it's not cannibalism or whatever, you know. We have to draw the line somewhere, you know.
no, but agnostic, I mean, you're acknowledging that you have, you certainly are open to the idea of there being a God, a
I
supreme.
don't know what happens after I die. I think I know. I think that's it. I think I want to be buried in a green burial and plant a tree over me, let
I
my
think
mortal remains nourish a tree.
I think we all know what happens when we die, but I don't know. Uh,
Well,
the
what do you
fairy
think
tale.
happens?
Well, I think, uh, I mean, maybe another stream of consciousness, but nothing. I think it's like what happens before you're born. That's what I think it is.
Yeah, I think this is as good as it gets, man.
You won't have it. You may still be a soul out there, but you won't have any knowledge of it for sure. Um,
Yeah, I'm not so sure about that. I'm thinking that our bodies know more than our brains, in a sense, in a primal sense, for our connection to our unconscious mind. And I think in this fantasy world that I'm creating, and I'm creating it, this is the first novel that I'm using it. It's my form of time travel in my science fiction occurs only through consciousness. That's it. My thesis would be, for my time travel to work, it takes two people. It takes a couple. It takes two human beings who love each other in order to make the trip. So they're called light shockers. And the way they time travel, if a light shocker has been through your consciousness in any way and shown you something you needed to see in the future, it would be revealed to you inside your unconscious mind when you dream, when you're having the dreams that you can remember. And when you have certain recurring dreams. And when in your conscious mind you're out walking around and you round a corner and you have experienced it before, but it would be impossible because you haven't been here before to this geographical location.
yeah, the brain's tricky too. So
It is, and it degrades, and we lose,
operates on
and
chemicals.
brain cells don't regenerate.
We're talking chemicals and electricity, and that shit can short circuit, knock
Yeah,
out
of course, of
the time.
course. Yeah,
But
of
uh,
course.
but
That's why I'm,
I love
That's
what you
why I
said.
enjoy the sensation of flooding my brain, with neurotransmitters when I try to tap into my unconscious mind and create.
Certainly. Well, I've always enjoyed marijuana for releasing an outlook on life that otherwise I don't experience when I'm not high.
Yeah,
I get easily irritated with the world, as
yeah,
most, but weed has always helped me see a lot of humor, where
yeah,
otherwise I'd be really raging. It's
yeah,
harder these days because I'm really
yeah.
raging, even with weed.
It's like you're living an episode of Black Mirror, dude.
It's truly the Twilight Zone, truly
It's
bizarre
fucked
world.
up, man. Speaking of the Twilight Zone, first time I went to Los Angeles, I fell in love with it. I went out there to pick up in person a certificate for completing 2 semesters for their certification in screenwriting from their professional program. So, in other words, it was an online course, but you could get your certificate in person and maybe meet some of your classmates, some contacts.
Cool.
So the first time I went down Hollywood Boulevard, the first photograph I wanted made with was Rod Serling,
Right.
the Twilight Zone dude, because I think everything I write, I imagine on some level is like an episode of The Night Gallery.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I mean, they were
Yeah,
classics, man. I loved all those. I mean, who didn't?
yeah, yeah.
I don't know. It was short and contained and yet totally open-ended, It was just all
Well, the man was a performer, and he had something to say about what he thought America ought to be, you know, and he, the way he would open the Twilight Zone, hosting that show, and the way he would open the Night Gallery, he slayed in a different way in color, you know, out
sure.
there with this portrait and telling you the theme of this portrait, and the theme of the portrait was going to match the show that he was putting on for you, you know.
Did, did you watch the Alfred Hitchcock shit before that?
Yeah, yeah. Alfred Hitchcock
That
was
was cool
was
too.
okay. But it was corny compared to Rod
It
Serling.
was. It was. Yeah.
Yeah, because Hitchcock was more literal.
Sure.
Hitchcock really didn't uh, get subversive art uh, in a way. Now that's not fair because Hitchcock Psycho, I think, is one of the greatest films ever made. You know,
Sure.
so the man was a brilliant technician. He was a master of suspense, but I think sometimes he was a little too literal in his psychoanalytic approach,
Right. And
but at
corny.
least he made the effort.
And
He
corny.
wasn't Fellini. Fellini just got it. Fellini understood how fucked up people were and really showed it and didn't explain it. You know, so that's
Good
anyway.
shows. Rod Serling. You met him?
That was the first star that I wanted a picture made next to. But he died young, man. He died like when he was still in his 40s. He had a bad heart. He died when he was like, I want to say 45, like in the early 70s, maybe 74, 75. Yeah. Yeah. He died a couple years, I guess, before Robert Lowell did, the
Mm.
American poet.
Mm.
And I was working on a novel that had elements of science fiction and horror about the life and death of Robert Lowell when Renee Nicole Good was murdered by Jonathan Ross in Minneapolis on January 7th, I guess,
Yeah.
2026.
He's still alive and being paid by the government. Jonathan Ross is.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think from my 18 years experience as a law enforcement officer for the city of Dallas, first responder, just an ordinary beat cop, did that for 18 years, and I was very fortunate. I would tell people, I would tell them that I can take away your liberty, but I can't take away your dignity. You know, and a lot of them would ask me, "Are you sure you're a cop?" and want to shake my hand. As soon as the handcuffs came off, they had a book in. So that meant a lot to me. I shook a lot of hands from people that appreciated being treated like a normal human being because I didn't think I was better than him. I knew I wasn't, you know. It's just because I believe people are equal. And they knew it. They knew from my just the this of me, with my skinny, buzz cut.
Pretty obvious.
They knew that I wasn't bullshitting them. And that is more than any reason that I never I never got hurt at all. No broken bones, no stitches, no, I didn't have a tooth knocked out. I got punched and kicked in the chest a couple times, but it was nothing. I had my vest on. So I was so fortunate, you know.
Sure.
Didn't get ambushed. So, yeah.
Yeah, and Dallas is pretty rough and tumble, I would
Yeah.
imagine.
Yeah.
Would imagine. Well, that's a solid 18-year run, man. That's a
Yeah, I was so lucky and they paid for like 80% of my tuition for graduate school so I could study writing, you know.
oh yeah.
So that was really cool. And I had some good
So,
teachers.
so you are like you have a lot of cop screenplays then in that
Not so much. I won some
cop
little
screen.
awards for some of the cop screenplays. The one that kind of won the most was one about a police officer who decided to go to the former Yugoslavia as part of a UN peacekeeping force. And it was what they would do is they would ensure that your local police department would hold your position for up to 24 months. But you would do 24 months in the former Yugoslavia somewhere helping uh, reestablish the logistics, rebuilding roads, getting the education system up and running, helping people form a new government. Uh, and for this guy, he was part of the felony warrant unit, which is like a division of the tactical unit, was great at leading jump outs to run warrants. And so that's what he did, hunting war criminals. And he fell in love with his translator, and that was called Karst. And that character, Hank Karst, I think I'm going to find a way to get him into this Light Shocker universe with these people who they become, in terms of a human being, if my argument is if you are able to access your unconscious mind, that's like the pinnacle of, I think, self-actualization on Maslow's scale.
Mhm.
So if you start becoming aware of that by just keeping like a dream journal, like when you wake up, just write down, write by hand or type it in or whatever, a daily journal. And when you've had enough access to your unconscious mind, then maybe you can kind of upgrade to kind of like lucid dreaming. And that's where light shockers transmit their consciousness forward or backward to any point in time.
So, which I was going to ask you also, are you already thinking about what you're writing next? Which
Yeah, originally I
background?
was going to write one with a really long title, but probably keep the entire title because there's one long titled novel that was turned into a fantastic movie called The Assassination of Jesse James by the coward Robert Ford. Did you see that or read the book?
Oh yeah, I didn't read the book. I saw the movie, of course. Casey Affleck's a badass. He's just
Yeah,
everything he does is so good. Yeah,
yeah,
good
yeah,
movie. It's a real good movie.
yeah. the book is wonderful. I mean, the book had something that shook me, and I'm going to use in something else that I'm going to write. The next thing I'm going to write is going to be called Starry Nights and Voting Rights. And it's going to be about the woman who made her deceased brother-in-law a rock star. And that's his sister-in-law, Joanna Van Gogh Bonker. And I'm going to tell how she used her intelligence and her sexuality to persuade the art world to fall in love with the works of Vincent van Gogh.
Huh.
And not only that, she also helped create the first laws in the world that protected a woman's right to have an abortion.
Hmm. Okay.
And she also helped women earn the right to vote in the Netherlands. So it's going to feature her, and then it's also going to bring in some free thinkers, some agnostics, including the great agnostic Robert G. Ingersoll.
So
And
you never did answer. You are an agnostic and you believe there
yeah,
might be a God?
I believe this is what a friend of mine said, you know, why he was agnostic, because I called myself an atheist for, I don't know, 20, 30 years. And he said, because it's arrogant. And, I'm an arrogant motherfucker already, right? So why do I have to put that shit like, oh, I'm an atheist. You're so dumb not to be one. Why do I have to? Because I don't know. I don't know what happens after I die.
I used to say that. I used to think atheists were arrogant too. And
Yeah,
I didn't even have a label for myself. Obviously, I don't believe in God. Um,
well,
and
I don't either.
I do think this is as good as it gets.
Yeah, me too.
So I mean, arrogant or not, I think we're pretty much atheists, right? I
Pretty
mean,
much,
of
yeah, that's
course.
fair. I wouldn't be offended if someone called me an atheist straight to my face. I'm like, yeah, so.
I
Yeah,
know. Me too. I'm the same way.
yeah,
So, which
yeah,
is kind of weird here, in Arkansas. It's
yeah,
kind
of course.
of,
Oh, did you get a chance to check out that link I sent you, YouTube, for Robert Arnold?
no, because I've only been awake for
Oh, okay,
5 hours now, but that's
okay.
all.
No, man, he's making these great social media posts um, where he's just
No,
standing
that
up to
one. Yes,
trumpet his
I did
cult.
see that one. Yeah, the Facebook
Okay,
post. I did see that one. I thought you were
yeah,
talking about the other one, the other link you
yeah,
sent. No, yeah, I had seen him before on something, and yeah, he's
yeah,
awesome.
yeah.
And he's in
I,
Arkansas. I don't know where in Arkansas he's at exactly,
yeah.
but
Well, if you somehow find a connection, or find a connection online, Facebook or Instagram or whatever. Instagram, he's Defiance_13.
hmm.
So
Honestly,
yeah,
I'm
I
not.
mean, I want to, if you would like to have him on a podcast and we could both talk to him, that would be cool. It could be an episode of either one you like, man. Whichever title you like. Do you like the title Down with Psychopaths, Nihilists, and Fascists?
Yeah.
Or you did, I did too. Yeah, if you want to do an episode of that with him, and feel free to show him you know, any of the episodes from that podcast, and I think he'll be cool with it if he has the time, you
Yeah,
know.
he is a very literate son bitch.
Yeah.
He knows
Yeah, he's
exactly
well
what to say.
read.
Is
Yeah,
he a
and
veteran?
he what's that?
Is he a veteran? I'll have to check
I
him
don't
out.
know.
I'll
He
figure him
comes
out.
across, seems like he's got a lot of discipline. I
I've
wouldn't be
seen him.
surprised.
I've seen him before. I'll figure him out
Yeah.
one of these days. Anyway, I've been trying to hang off social media a little bit, except for
Yeah.
just meaningless fun stuff,
Yeah,
just for, the very reason that, the whole world is going to hell except for you and
yeah,
Rotterdam.
yeah, yeah. It's it's fucked up, man. I mean, if someone would have told this shit to us when we were in the fraternity together, if somebody, say a light shocker possessed the consciousness of one of our friends, and say some fraternity brother that is really sharp. Say it was Jeff Haslauer, right? And say Jeff told us, he said, "Man, this. You guys are gonna think I'm fucking with you, but I know what happens. I know what you dudes are gonna be doing in 2026." And we're like, "No, man, fuck you. What the fuck? I don't have any motherfucking money on me. What do you want? What do you just spit it out, man?" And he was like, "No, man, I'm serious. In 2026, Paul, you're going to be living in Rotterdam, the fucking Netherlands, and you're going to be high as fuck talking to Danny, who's still in Arkansas, and he's going to be high as fuck too." And we've been
Uh,
like, "Fuck you, Jeff,
yeah,
man. Yeah, go study your lines, man. Get
right.
ready. Yeah, yeah. Go
That's
rehearse your
funny.
lines. Yeah."
Uh, that's funny.
Ooh. I think
Uh,
somebody wants to play. Am I keeping somebody from their walk?
it's Crash.
Okay. Hey,
Crash,
Crash.
say hi.
Crash, you know what? I think Crash needs some attention, man. I don't want to bogart your time anymore.
Hey,
But
we got plenty of time next time.
yeah, man. Yeah, and definitely we'll plan something here soon.
All
Great,
right,
great talking to you.
for sure. You too, man. Enjoy your evening, I guess, and I'll enjoy my day.
Okay, you too. Take care.
Ciao, Paul.
Bye bye.
Bye.
There we go.